I met my now wife my freshman year in college.
Oh my gosh,
and
that's cute.
She's from here.
That's awesome. Where is she from?
South Minneapolis.
Nice.
That's cool. When I first met her, 'cause I'm from California.
Yeah. What a switch up.
Who are you telling? So it's so funny. I came out here in February, like a couple days before my birthday, and never even heard of Minnesota. Like, I never heard
You're
of
from
Minnesota.
Cali, that makes sense.
Yeah, I never heard of Minnesota, and they called me like the day before signing day, and my high school coach had showed me the facilities, and I was like, "Oh, okay. I guess I'll go check it out."
Yeah.
And then the first thing they did when I got here was take me to the Mall of America.
What a sell. I was actually just there yesterday.
Yeah, so I was like, all right. And then once I saw the locker room, I was like, oh, I bet. Yeah, I want to come here. Did you always want to go to the university being from here?
Not necessarily. I think I grew up in a basketball family. Hockey kind of became more prevalent when I was younger, but I think it was about 10 to 12 when I started to more so get into the sport and actually realized that hockey was an Olympic sport. I don't think I knew that until I was like 11 or 12 because I was like, I'll probably still play basketball, but I'm just going to be like playing hockey for right now. And then after that, kind of realized when I was like 12 or 13 that I could, do something and do something special with the way that I was training and
it had more so to do with training, more so than how you were performing?
Yeah, I would say I just knew like when I was playing against other girls, I'm like, I am going to set myself up to be really good. And I want to make sure I'm at a good program that's going to continue to do that for me. And obviously when you're 14, I don't know. I didn't know much.
But you knew that though at 12, 13.
My parents are amazing. And I have 2 younger brothers who also at that point, having 3 kids in your family that are really, really competitive and quite good at what they do, not easy. We bickered a lot, but also I think competing against them was part of the reason why I, as a girl, was so good because I was used to like getting my butt beat at home. Like we were like outside putting gloves on and like locker boxing outside in the garage. But yeah, just like knowing that when I was 13 or 14, I was like, honestly, like college, I knew I wanted to go to college, didn't know where. I ended up touring lots of different places. I went out east, like Boston, I think it was Boston University with a friend. I went out there and traveled around Wisconsin, Minnesota, Duluth. I tried almost everything. And I actually was on my visit to Wisconsin and kind of realized it wasn't for me. And then I had emailed the Minnesota coach myself. Like they hadn't reached out to me. I emailed them.
Oh, okay.
And I said, I would love to come on a visit. I don't know if it's going to match the morals and values that I have. I'm assuming it will, but I want to come and just see what you guys have to offer. And they emailed me back. And I think went on a little visit there and then kind of things started to take off for me.
That is a really proactive thing to do.
My mom is a teacher and we get things done like very like type A. We do things a certain way. And I remember where I was specifically when I told my mom, I'm like, I don't know if this is the place for me. And she goes, all right, let's send an email to Minnesota. They were never going to push me in a certain direction. I think my parents are great in the sense that they know I'm very dedicated and determined.
So what was that like for you? Like being from Minnesota and not getting an offer from Minnesota and reaching out to them? Because I know for a lot of people in the recruiting process, there's a lot of ego in like, oh, they didn't reach out to me. I don't care to really to go there. Yeah. So what was it? How are you able to come up with putting your ego aside and reaching out because of whatever it was, or knowing that Wisconsin was the place that you didn't want to go?
I would say at that point, it's so hard too, because I think I was 14 or 15. Like I remember I got my first offer.
That is crazy to me. You were so young.
I got my first
like
offer
that.
from University of North Dakota at 13 or 14. And I don't even know if that was legal at the time, to be honest with you. But honestly, I remember I went there. I had some family friends that were really high up in the UND network of things. So they were like, just come and visit the school. And this place is like hockey central. That's all they have there. It's like hockey at the Ralph Engelstad Arena. And good thing I didn't, because that program ended up folding my sophomore year, junior year of high school. But yeah, just looking back at my recruiting process, it was really crazy because I think I knew I was really talented at 13 or 14 and then ended up starting to get some offers. And I knew Minnesota was up there. I knew I wanted to visit there. I wouldn't even say ego was a big thing for me. I just knew like I was going to end up somewhere good and I was going to find my way and be really good, essentially, is in my thought process if I continue to stick to like what I valued and the morals that I had. And I think when I was at Wisconsin and just kind of seeing that, I'm like, all right, we'll see what Minnesota has to offer. And if they don't want me, that's fine. I'll find somewhere else to go. What my parents said, I want to be wanted, and I wanted it to benefit me both school-wise and hockey-wise. My parents always said, if you go day one and you hurt yourself and you can't play again, are you still going to want to be there? And I remember I went on campus for Minnesota and like, first of all, the rinks are amazing, both Mariucci and Ritter. And then just kind of seeing the campus, knowing that my grandparents, my parents can come and watch me. That was super important. Minnesota was a legacy and still is at that point. They had just won like 3 national championships in a row. I think it was 2015 at that time, 2016. They had an undefeated season. They went like, I think it was 41-0. Like that's unheard of. So just having all that and realizing like, I'll put my ego aside. I don't care. If they don't want me, then we'll cross that path when we get there.
Yeah.
But I wanted to make sure I gave myself the opportunity to be able to see all these places and be able to have these coaches look at me. Because at 14 or 15, it's important. I made my first USA team when I was 15. So getting into this process before that was nice. My coach at the U ended up being my coach for the U18 team when I was on Team USA anyways.
That's cool.
So that's a whole different like outlook on things. So I'm glad I got in there earlier and that he knew my name, and it kind of definitely helped to bolster my career when it came to that as well.
It's fascinating listening to you speak. Because like, it's funny because I'm listening to you and it's almost like I can see your 13 or 14-year-old self. And the way that you were at 13 or 14, I can tell you it's how you are now. Like you're extremely confident. You're very sure in yourself. And I think that when a top tier athlete comes across that way, I think it can always be read wrong. It's like, I'm confident for a reason. It's not, I'm not confident because it's false. And I say, when you look at your list of things that you've done, like MVP of the finals as a rookie, first round pick, star in high school, like all these accolades, and people, I think it's easy for people to be like, well, like she just has it. It's just that's how she is. And I think people often see end results. They don't see the work and the dedication and the nights that you don't sleep and the bad games. All they see is the end of what you do. And when you think about, even before you were 12 or 13, somewhere at some time, someone instilled something in you, whether it was discipline, confidence, being sure of yourself. What was instilled in you and who instilled that in you?
I would definitely say my parents are my biggest role models when it comes to that. Just when my dad owns his own business, my mom's a teacher. Both of them have worked so hard for what they've gotten. And I think both of them being able to show me what process got them to where they're at when I was young is really important. It wasn't like we were super strict on everything, but I knew my parents and I knew what was allowed and how far I could push those buttons. Having 2 brothers who are both bigger and stronger than me definitely helped as well. We did a lot of things together. And I think for my parents, the biggest thing was them making sure that I knew like, you can be really good, but if people don't like you, it's not going to get you very far. And I've known those people. I've known those people where even today I can think back to someone and just think like they were so good, but they just didn't treat people right. And they didn't understand the morals and values that, God and themselves put out. And just to be able to see, like for me, my parents were that steady factor in my life. There were so many people talking to me from this year. These people want me here. You want to go here. Shattuck St. Mary's wanted me to go at the age of 14 to go play for them for a AAA team. I didn't want to leave my family, and my family never put pressure on me to go. I played for a high school team that, wasn't really good. We weren't bad, but we weren't great. Safe to say I was playing huge minutes. I probably played more minutes than almost anyone in high school hockey, just with my team. I had my 5 closest best friends in high school, and they stayed pretty much to play hockey, necessarily just to help me have a good team. They knew I wanted to be better. They knew I wanted to make the Olympics. They knew I wanted to play in college. So having all these people in my life was super important. And they instilled that confidence in me, because when I was down or they knew that I wasn't having a good day, they're like, dude, you train so hard and you do all this. Like, it's not to say things are just going to work out for you, but to have those people who are like, hopping on your back. They're like, you got this. Like, no matter if you lose a game 10-0 in high school, they're like, you're still the best player out there. And that's one thing I've always instilled in myself is, regardless of the score, I've played on really bad teams. I played on really good teams. I've played with really good people, played with really bad people. So I've kind of seen what that does for you. And I just think for me, it's so important. I'm a people person. I like to get to know you as a person. I pride myself on being a really good teammate, and the line mates and teammates I've had, I would hope would say the same thing. So that's the biggest thing to me, is having all these people that hop on my back, and, they wouldn't be there unless I was good to them. I respected them. I made sure they knew I loved them. Just having all those people in my life is definitely the reason why I am the way I am and why I take life a certain way. You can be really good, like I said, but if you're not a good person, people won't remember you.
So would you attribute being good to having good people, or would you separate the work from having a good support system? Because it sounds like you're talking about a really good support system, and that's obviously really important. Like for me, from like my parents, the support from them was to make sure that we were safe. Like I'm from the inner city of California. So I grew up around in a dangerous neighborhood. So my parents' only job was to keep us safe. And for me, that was support. And the people around me didn't have the best intentions because they didn't have the resources to understand themselves or to support somebody, or when jealousy and envy comes up, that they don't know how to kind of work on that in themselves and not take it out on somebody else. So I hear you talking about a support system, but I'm really wondering about the internal, like, nobody's watching me and it's only me to get this done. Where did that come from?
Definitely two avenues. The first one, you know, my parents instilled in me, you work hard and things will work out. And if they don't, you keep working harder and then they will work out. Being able to see them, both my parents played college basketball at the University of River Falls, Wisconsin, and just being able to see all the hard work they put in to help us succeed. I grew up in a really nice place. I grew up in a really nice house with really great people around me. But then you look at the side of how hard I worked. I might have missed some birthday parties. I might have missed some sleepovers. I might have missed some dances. I might have missed days of high school because I needed to do things. I needed to do things for hockey. I would always say I took the avenue less traveled. I lived an hour and a half from the cities. My grandpa gave up his job of bus driving, which he loved more than anything, and still does, to drive me to the cities every single day. Usually that ended April because I had high school from December to April, and that's when you played high school hockey. And then you look at end of April all the way until August, and he drove me almost every single day from ages of 13 to 15. And I would do that. I would do my homework in the car. I would read. He would drive me literally probably 5 days a week, and never complained. Never once complained. And I would love to like just pity back on the sense of like, we were talking in the car. I wasn't just on my phone. My mom made sure I knew you read your book, but also talk to grandpa. Make sure he knows that, you know, you're here for him. You love him and you appreciate him driving you. And then behind the scenes, you know, my dad drove me 30 minutes to high school because I couldn't go to high school where I wanted to because they didn't have hockey. Open enrolled to Red Wing High School in Minnesota, drove a half hour to get there. That's all sacrifice for me. I didn't want to leave my friends in Lake City, but I knew for me to be successful, that's where I had to be. And then, you know, you see, I would get home from school. My mom is a teacher, so I would make sure my homework is done before I even get home because I knew she would say that. I'm running hills in the back. I'm racing my brothers. We grew up tractor pulling, which you definitely in California, I don't know if they got that down there, but you'll have to look up photos. We went to nationals as kids. Like competition was in our blood. I would go and stick handle in my garage. I didn't have ice, so I had synthetic ice. I'd put my rollerblades on. I would shoot pucks and I would lift. I had a weight room upstairs. There's just a lot of things that I did that I don't think other people had to do.
Why?
I just think based on resources and where I lived, I think that did it. But also I'm such a determined human. I wanted to be the best. I wanted to have the best shot. I would shoot, you know, as a team, they'd be like, all right, shoot 10,000 pucks this summer. I'm tripling that. I want to make sure my snapshot's good. I want to have a snapshot before any of my friends. I want to make sure my skating's good. I'm working with a skating coach, but that's time. I can't get up there every day because I have two brothers that need to be places too. We got to separate things out. For me, I tried to put in 2 hours to 2.5 hours of work every single day, starting at the ages of like probably 12. Honestly, probably before that too, because I was playing competitive basketball as well. I was playing both. So there's just a lot. And I think for me, I wanted to do it. My parents, I always said, if you tell me to do something, I'm stubborn. I'm not going to want to do it. So let me go out there and do what I need to do. You can ask me your questions later. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to put in my work. I'm going to come in. My mom always made us dinner. Amazing. Working so many hours a week and making us dinner, making sure we're fed. We'd maybe go on a little walk, like the Minnesotan walk, and then watch some NBA because hockey didn't make it on my TV till I was 14 or 15. So we had good routines, but we all knew we weren't all going to sit down and eat dinner together because we were all on different schedules. But knowing that when we got home at night at like 8:30 when everyone's home, say hi to everyone, make sure everyone knows that you love them, and then kind of go from there. Because I missed a lot of things and I miss weddings and birthdays and all that, but I don't regret a single second of it because I look at where I am today, and not to say I don't have to put in the extra work, but I know I've done it. I don't need to work on a snapshot now. I don't need to work on my toe dry because I did that for 55 to 60 to 70 to 80 hours when I was young. And I have that patented. I have that down. But I know now I'm determined to, sometimes it's my red flag is I want to be better at everything than anyone else. So I have to kind of focus in and dial in on the 3 things that I really wanted.
What order are you in of your siblings?
I'm the oldest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it makes sense because I'm the oldest too. And I'm sitting here like, where did they come from? And it's like, I just know as me as the oldest, I'll just speak for myself. I never really had anybody to look up to. And I think once I saw football and I loved the mark of measurement and I didn't like not being good.
Yeah.
That was the problem for me. When I was young, when I first started playing football, my first year, I was terrible. And I started playing at 10 years old. And I started to look around and see who did the things right, who did the things wrong, and I copied them. So over time, I've learned, okay, I like a mark of measurement. I don't want to be bad. Yeah. And I learned that if you work, things will happen.
Right.
And through work, it's just you and the work. It's nobody else.
Yeah.
I just think it's amazing that at 12, 13, 14, you were like, yeah, like I'm going to separate myself because I know I can do something with this. But being raised in a basketball family, hockey not coming on the TV till 14, but you knew you had something at 12 or 13. How are you being like, all right, I want to play hockey. I'm not playing basketball. Sorry, y'all. Like, y'all go ahead and do y'all thing.
Yeah. Type A personality in me. That's definitely probably half of the battle. My dad was all 3, me and my brother's coaches. So he was doing lots of things all the time. And you're the coach's kid. Some people think you get treated differently. I was at the bottom of the barrel. Like I wasn't starting up here. I was the one running lines. Any little thing that I messed up, it wasn't even that. I didn't even feel like I was being targeted. I wanted to be there. I wanted to get better. I wanted to do these things. And I honestly just didn't want my dad to get mad at my friends. Like I was like, I'll take the brunt of it as long as my friends want to stay here because I want to play competitive basketball. And I know I need Mackenzie. I know I need Ashley. I know I need Allie. I know I need all 3 of these girls to stay in here with me so I can keep being good because I want to be on a good team. So it started there. It started with me being a competitive basketball player. We were playing AAU tournaments at 8. Like I was playing in Wisconsin Dells in a random weekend that others might have been at a birthday party. I don't know. And being able to start there, having my dad as my coach, I feel like I gained a little bit of anxiety when I was young, just because everything was on me. I was the point guard. I never came out of the game. And I remember, I think I was like 10-ish. And my mom was like, are you okay? Like, you look like you're overwhelmed. And I was like literally breathing into a bag. And I was like, like couldn't catch my breath. I felt like the pressure of the world was on me. And I feel like looking back at that, part of the reason why basketball kind of started to drain away from me and me wanting to kind of try something else was all the pressure that was put on me. I'm from a very small town. Everyone knew you when you were young if you were a good athlete. I played soccer. I did flag football with the boys. I won punt, pass, and kick. Like did all these things and people did know my name, and helps you when your parents are prevalent in the community as well. Just that basketball was in our family and it's who you are. And I always say now, hockey is not who I am. It's just something that I do. I never want that to be flipped.
How long has that been a mantra for you?
Since I was probably 14. Because when I was younger,
what's up with you? Like, how are you knowing this stuff so young? I feel like I'm learning this stuff in my like late 20s and 30s. And you knowing this is just amazing. And I have to just like give credit to your folks. Like it is amazing. It's amazing that you knew that so young. Like I'm over here listening to you. I'm like what would you say to kids now who it's really easy to get distracted? It's really easy to see an end result or see somebody on Instagram or something showing I'm putting in work.
Yeah.
And you don't really know if they are. And they have to miss the birthdays. They have to miss the weddings. They have to miss all that stuff. What would you say to a kid like that now? Like, how can they do that?
I think being in the realm of social media is a little bit harder. I never shared what I was doing on social media. I didn't even have a phone till I was 15. So being able to kind of I literally got to turn off, to put my music on my speaker and literally just stick it around my garage and do everything I wanted to until it was time for my brothers to use the dunking part of the garage. Then I knew I would move over to this side. Just like any of the kids nowadays, I think it's so easy to get caught up in fashion. It's so easy to get caught up what your friends are thinking. It's so easy to have your friend get mad at you because you don't want to go to the mall, or you don't want to go to their birthday because you have hockey practice. I almost missed prom because I had a game up in the cities and I was doing my makeup and hair in the car. Like, it also helped for me. I didn't care what people thought of me when I really don't either now, but more so you kind of have to be ready to go with social media. But if I had to give advice to a kid that's looking to be different and do something that's going to make them special, I would just say do it. I think, those who don't want to support you and those who want to judge you don't have to be in your life. Quality over quantity. I have like 3 really good best friends right now, and that's all I need. Like you got those 55 other people that could be waiting in line, but I know exactly who wants the right thing from me and doesn't just want something because I am the way I am. Some people are going to want things from you. They're going to want to use you to get, I guess clout is the best word, but just take it how you want to do it. And essentially it's you versus everyone else. You don't want to look at yourself as a villain or other people as villains, but you want to look at it. You're living your own life. And until they step into your shoes, they're never going to understand it. So just being happy with what you're doing. I always say, if you're happy, that's half the battle. Because if you're training and you're not happy, you're not going to get out of it what you want. If I was ever shooting pucks when I was a kid and I was like, oh, I'm kind of like over this, I'd maybe shoot 5 to 10 more, but I already know my form's bad because I don't want to be there. My shoulders are shrugging. I'm like not in the mental headspace to working on exactly what I'm doing. If you want to be there, that's half the battle. Want to be there, work on what you want to work on, and just try to get better. Because it's hard to sit there and have all these expectations thrown at you. That's why I had anxiety when I was a kid. I still do. I feel like I have generalized anxiety in the sense of I want to be the best. I want to be better than everyone else. And when you've already made these hooks in the ladder and you only have a few left that you can see, like how do you keep being better? And I think when you're a kid, starting from the bottom is so much fun. Like if I could go back to being 8 years old and have no one care if I just fell flat on my face on the ice, I would.
I say that all the time. Like
enjoy
the best,
it because it's a kid's game. And I sometimes I look back when I'm playing for the Frost at the XL Energy Center and I'll just sit on the bench and I'll just look out in the stands and I'll pick one little girl and I'll be like, she doesn't care. She might care if I score. She doesn't care what I'm doing out there. She's just happy to be there. So telling those kids where, people might judge you, that judgment will fade. They won't care. They're going to move on. Maybe they'll move. Maybe they'll do something else. If they don't want to support you, let them. Let them be because, quality over quantity, especially when friendships come along, finding the good ones, that's where things get important. Sorry, that was a lot.
No,
I get on tangents.
I like when I just like drop the mic. Because I'm thinking, like I told you I have 3 daughters before we started. I'm like, man, whenever you're done, maybe my daughters can come hang out with you. Because like the stuff that because I think about, like you talked about, I have quantity over quality with friends. And I just imagine like, for women, it's really difficult to navigate that with friends. How are you able to know the difference between quantity and quality of friends in a world where it feels like not being alone and not having quantity is
lonely?
Yeah. Like how are you able to differentiate quantity versus quality with friends?
Yeah, I think I have like 3 separate ways I'll talk about it. High school, I was kind of a loner and I wanted to be by myself. I enjoyed that. If I could sit in the back of the bus and read my book, I was totally fine with that. Move on to college. There's a lot of expectations. There's a lot of people in your ear. There's people telling you should do this, you should do that, you should go out here, you should do this, we should do this. I lived with 10 girls when I was in college for 3 years, and then I lived with 6 for the last.
Did you live in the hockey house?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was there was 8 of us plus like 2. We called them the rotating roomies. Like they were random people that would come and live with us, whatever. And I learned quality over quantity really quick. All of these girls are my buddies, but I have my best friends and I know that. College is hard because college hockey, everyone wanted to be the best. And you could tell those who wanted what's best for me and those who wanted to be next to me because they wanted to be the best. And I know that I will never speak poorly for those people. And I do love them. And I know that they're out there supporting me for sure. But I know my people, and my best friend, her name's Abby Barine. And then my other best friend is Grace Selminkle. Abby Barine in college really helped me to get through because she would tell me and call me on my shit if I needed to be called out. But she would also make jokes with me and love me. And she would say, she was my line mate. And to have a line mate that's your best friend is really hard. And I've learned that the hard way.
I'm not familiar with that is.
So for hockey, I'm a center. I have 2 wings. That's your line. And usually in college, I stayed with the same line when things were, I would say my senior and super senior year. To have someone who's your best friend on your same line and to train with them and to have to tell them like, oh, I need you here. I need you to do this. it's really easy to bicker. It's really easy to yell. It's really easy to be like, oh, you didn't make that pass to me. You missed this pass. You did that. She did so well with just like understanding me. And when she saw when I was worked up, she would be like, okay, we're going to just leave this. We're going to leave this alone. And we'd be able to talk it out. And I think having that quality is so good. Because if I didn't have someone like her and I didn't have my parents to talk to, like I would just be bottled up. Everything would be inside and then I would explode. And like, what is that for my teammates? That's me being rude. That's me not making a good play or me yelling at someone. Like, I don't want to be like that. And what I've learned is to find those quality people, even when you're at the top, which I was in college. I wanted to see who wanted to be around me for me, not because I'm scoring 4 goals a game, because I want to see what you want to see what I'm doing on a Saturday night or what on a Tuesday morning. Like, let's go on rollerblade. Let's have coffee. Like, I just want to be surrounded by people who want to be me, be with me, because I feel like in life now I've seen people who just want to hop on the bandwagon and just hitch their name to yours because it's easier for them and it's going to cause them to have more power in life, to have all these things. So back to the basis of that is like high school, I just wanted to be by myself, didn't care. College, there was a lot of expectations. And now being on professional teams and being able to meet so many cool people, having your group is so important. Grace Sumwinkle, she's my best friend and was my line mate this year for a little bit too. She keeps me very sane. We train together every single day. We call each other every single day, talk to each other every day, but she keeps me sane. We're competing for the same spot on an Olympic team. We're competing for the same spot on a Frost team. Hard. We're doing all this stuff. But I know that she wants what's best for me. She made the Olympic team last Olympics and I didn't. Like that's a hard thing to say. It's a hard thing to do. But for her, she deserved to be there and I just didn't have a good enough tryout and that was it. But now obviously we've made teams together and it's been so fun and we're both hoping to make the Olympic team that makes that's going to Milan in February of this year. So I just think having those quality people in your life makes training and being who you are so easy. Do you think
it's easier to find quality earlier, like in your life, like younger or earlier in your career? Because I would imagine that it's hard as like the stardom comes. Because I was kind of like, I was exactly like you, to be honest with you. In high school, I would be with myself. I can kind of, I'm a deep thinker. You know, I like to like really process my past and where I came from and raising kids. I'm the first one to graduate high school and go to college. So I have a lot of stuff that I'm always thinking about. So I have very few close friends, but I have a lot of people who think they're close to me because I am willing to speak and give advice because that's just who I am. And I realize that people who are closest to me are the ones who I am willing to share with because there's something about them that I know I trust them because of they see me for who I am, not what I can do or what I have to offer. And in my young life, I would say I do have some friends who are really close to me. And in my adult life, I have friends who are close to me, but it took trial and error and vulnerability and willingness to open up. And it sounds like for you, it sounds like you found those people early. Do you think that's what it was for you, is finding them early?
Yeah. And when I say early, I would say I was very unwilling to be vulnerable up until probably the age of 16 to 17. I knew I was going to be good and I knew I wanted to, work really hard to be where I was at, but being vulnerable about, expectations at school, like people being in the popular group and even like going into college being like, are people going to like me? Like, I didn't want to share that with people. I just was going to have the cold shoulder front where, I'm going to go out there and train and I'm going to do what I'm going to do. But if you're not good interior, you're not going to be good exterior. So I found my really close friends at 18 or 19 and 20. So like, I think when I was young, I'm not the same person and I'm glad I'm not. I think I put too much of my platform in sport. I made my structural part of my body as sport foundation can crack immediately. And it did. Like when I didn't make the Olympic team, I remember thinking like, this is it. I'm done. I just worked 20 years to never make an Olympic team. And that's the goal that I wanted to have in life. But when I was young, I still have my best buddies. I think it's important to note certain best friends are not the same. I have 2 best friends I talk to literally every single day. I will have 17 missed texts from each of them on this phone by the time I walk out of here. But there's a friend of mine who was really good friends with me in high school. She's a really good athlete as well. She played volleyball down at Southern Florida. And she just recently texted me. We don't need to talk for months. And I could come back and talk to her and we're like best friends again. We each have our separate ways. Some friends don't need you to talk to them every day. Some friends, you just need to know they're there she'll congratulate me. She'll text me. She texted me when we won, but she just texted me today and she's like, hey, what are you doing June 26th and 27th? And I'm like, well, if you're here, then I'll cross out both those days and we can hang out. Understanding what friends bring to your life. I don't need her there for support. I just want to know what she's doing. I want to know how she's doing, if she's good, if things are good. So I think just having different people in your life that can help you in different situations is huge. She isn't like, she loves me. She doesn't care if I'm doing 6 hours of work every day. I don't need to tell her that. But she wants to know if I'm in Florida, if we're hanging out, if we're doing this, like reminiscing on when she saw me at my worst when I was in high school. And when I say worst, very different from her.
Yeah.
And her being able to see me there and understand me now is huge. She saw me when I dressed like a tomboy. I'd wear DCs to school if I wanted to. And now she sees me and I'm like wearing pink and stuff. It's very different. And just to have someone that has understood me from the start is huge. Like I have very limited. I had to leave my best friends when I was a kid to go to Red Wing. And then I left my best friends in Red Wing because all of them went to a specific school and I couldn't because I wanted to play hockey in college. And then I go to college and I have these best friends. Limited of them wanted to play professional hockey. I move on. It's like finding different areas and having to keep moving on from them and finding people who want to stick with you. That's where I think I found my buddies. And that's what I'm glad. I have those 3 best friends right now. And I always think about, do I want them in my wedding? Essentially is kind of like, yes, no, maybe. If it's a maybe, it's probably a no. So I have those people and that's how I always think about it.
Yeah, that's a really good way to look at it. I think balancing friends is so complicated really for anyone because, I mean, everybody's human, you know, and everybody has their own stuff and everybody to some degree is looking out for themselves, ourselves included. And I think being able to differentiate who you're willing to be vulnerable with first to see if it's even
possibility.
If it's even a possibility. And I love what you're talking about when it comes to people loving you for you. And I think the first thing is just knowing who you are. And I could tell from the jump, like, you know who you are for a long time. I think it's beautiful. I'm just sitting here like amazed that you do this at 13. Like, it's just like, that is so wild to me. But when you think about your identity, you talked about this, knowing that hockey is not who I am, it's what I do. And you've carried that since, 13 all the way to now. So if you were not a hockey player, like if you had a different life and you were doing something, what would it be? And the caveat is it can't be basketball because I know you come from a basketball family.
I always said I could be playing with Caitlin Clark right now. I like growing up. Obviously we were in the same age, so we would never know. But I say now, I would have loved to be Kate Martin. I could have been the second star. I would have loved to just be friends with, like, just understand what it means and to be like under someone that good. Because I've never been that. I've always been that, like, up here. I've never been these people, and I want to understand what it feels like. But
that is fucking fascinating. That is crazy. Like, you've been at the top and you're like, I've been at the top so long. I would like to know what it'd be like to be second. So I can, because I'm guessing like you want to know what that feels like so you can surpass them. You want to know what that's like to be hungry and beat them.
And then also I want to see what it feels like to have a great leader that treats you so well, even though you're not at her level or his level. To understand like how that like dynamic is between a first and a second. Like, you look at it and Kate Martin and Caitlin Clark, like, they're best friends. They might have issues off the court, and I've seen it, but there's like the respect level is always there. But back to your question, I think I would want to own a bakery, and I would want to have a bakery. And I think that like a mom and pop shop type of deal. I love to bake, and I think it would be so fascinating to do different. Maybe it becomes a restaurant at night. I love to cook and bake. So I feel like that would be one of my avenues. And the second would be to own like a dog boarding company. I love animals. Dogs are my favorite. And that would kind of be my thought. And maybe I'll do that later in life. Who knows? But I have hockey for right now, and that's good enough for me. So those are my 2 areas that I'd probably want to be.
Where did that come from? Like a bakery and...
I never had a dog when I was a kid. And I would literally kick myself. I'd be like, I want a dog so bad. I've just always been an animal person. I had a rabbit and a gecko because my parents knew those 2 things are not hard to take care of.
Low maintenance.
Here's your rabbit. Take him on a walk. I tied 3 hockey strings together and I would walk my, you don't even walk your rabbit. It's like hopping around. I don't know. Her name was Fluffy. I got her in 1st grade. But I really wanted a dog, and my grandpa had one. So I would walk over to his house or I'd bike just to see the dog. And even to this day, I'm going to hopefully get a dog here in the next year, but I've always been very passionate about animals. I love horses. I love, like, my grandpa had cows. sheep, all these things. And it's farm life. My grandpa lived on a farm. My mom lived on a farm. I know the blue collar side of things. I know how to work. You know, my dad grew up that way too. And then you go to the bakery side. And for me, when I was a kid, my mom knew if she saw my headphones in the kitchen, not to bother me. Same thing in college. When my friends after a game, it's like 10:30, they're not questioning why I'm making muffins at 10:30 at night. They know that that's my stress reliever. And that's the way that I get de-stressed and I decompress in that area. I know where everything is in my kitchen. I know this. I don't have to be precise in my baking. I know I can do a cup and a half of flour instead of a cup. It doesn't have to be. My life's very dialed in. I have to go here at 10:30. I'm here at 12:15. How do I fit a workout in between? So now when I'm baking, I have all these ways of sharing that and then also be able to share with others. In high school, I actually forgot about this. Before every away game, the night before, I would bake something for the team and I would bring it on the bus and I would share it with everyone. And this was when I was in 7th grade. I was on varsity in 7th grade and I weighed 100 pounds. I was the tiniest little girl, but all those girls respected me because I was a good hockey player, but also they were so happy when they saw me walk on with my Tupperware on the bus. They're like, what'd you have for us today? And I would stay up until 11:30 because I knew that they expected that. And that's what I loved, like feeding my team and like helping them to be nourished. And like the fact that they loved that, like I ate it up. As a 7th grader, you're taking any chance you can get to be liked by some of the older girls on the bus.
Yeah.
So I've always been into it. It's always been something I've been passionate about. So
really, as I heard you speak about baking, is it more about the process of baking or is it more about serving through baking?
I think both.
Okay.
Because in college, any of my roommates knew this. If it was your birthday, you submit to me what you wanted and I would make it for you. So everyone's birthday, they got a lemon raspberry bundt cake or someone wanted this. It's so fun for me to bake. I'm also a sweets girl and I'm a foodie. So I'm always trying everything that I'm doing. I go on Pinterest every day. Like I probably going to go to the grocery store later. I'm going to find something for dinner and a dessert and I'm probably going to make that tonight.
Okay.
Had a really busy week the week before and knowing that this week's going to be a little more chill, I can just sit and just like put my TV on and I listen to like a YouTube or I listen to music and can just chill. And like, there's no one bothering me. I get the whole kitchen to myself. I have someone to eat the stuff, which is great because my boyfriend will eat it all, which is great. And I don't. And sharing it with other people. I'll bring it to my trainers. My trainers this year, they're godsends. They're the reason why I'm in one piece right now.
Yeah.
I bring them all this stuff and they're like, Taylor, you're the reason we're going to be fat. And I'm like, no, it's all love. It's made with love and it's for you. So I think it's both. And I think it's me being able to share another one of my passions and hobbies with those who are around me.
That's beautiful, man. Because like for me, like in my life, like I always tell people, like football is what I did, but I didn't know about it till I was older. Because for me, sport was something that kept you out of trouble.
Yeah.
And I just happened to like the market measurement. I liked working hard and I loved being a leader, like being the oldest, like we like leading. And it wasn't until later where I realized I think I'm really supposed to be in kind of the performing arts stuff. I've always loved singing and I've always loved instruments and stuff when I was young, but we didn't have those resources.
Yeah.
And I struggled the past few years, like, man, I wish I could have explored this part of myself that I feel like is just who I am instead of doing this thing that I'm really grateful for because it like got me to do all these great things. I have a beautiful wife, beautiful kids. I live in Minnesota. It is beautiful except for 8 months. And I've wrestled with like what if I would have did the thing that I just genuinely feel like it was in my DNA.
Yeah.
And as I'm hearing you speak, it's like, well, I love to bake. Hockey is what I do, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So for you, with loving to bake and wanting to do the thing with the dogs, do you ever wrestle with that internally of like what you should have been doing versus what you did do?
That's a great question. Let's go back to, I'll come back to that in a second. I would say more so the most important decision I made in my life came in 6th grade when I had to pick between staying in Lake City and playing basketball or going to Red Wing and playing hockey. I knew no one in Red Wing. It was either stay with my best friends and be comfortable for the rest of my life and maybe play basketball. Could have been Caitlin Clark, never know. Or go to Red Wing, not know anyone, dive into high school hockey that I was more than scared of and taking the uncomfortable route. And my parents, we sat there and we made a pros and cons list. I remember we were on the way back from, I think it was Wisconsin Dells because we had just come from a basketball tournament. And I had to sit in the car and write down pros and cons. What do I think this is going to bring me? Do you think I'm going to be happy? What do I think this is going to bring me? What's going to make me happy? And I remember sitting on the couch and I cried so many times about it to my parents because I'm like, if I make this decision and I hate it, I'm going to hate this for the rest of my life. And I'm going to really be not in a good spot. And I was pretty shy. So when I decided I was going to go to Red Wing, the next day I woke up and I started crying again. I remember saying like, did I make the right decision? I called the principal. I already knew I'm going there, but I'm like, I already kind of don't want to do it because I was nervous to like hop over that ledge. And if I hadn't done that, I would not be the person I am today. I have no idea who I would have been if I didn't take that. And you look at now, I have a lot of hobbies and I, play hockey for a living, but also I love doing other things. I love hiking. I love being outside. It's the sacrifice that I knew I've had to make when I was young. Maybe I didn't go on a family vacation. Maybe I went and stayed with my friends so I could play in a hockey tournament that weekend. Like understanding sacrifice and what it brings to you. And my biggest thing in life is I want to be happy and I want to have fun. There's so much time in my life to continue to, if I want to get a dog, if I want to start a bakery. I feel like for hockey, I'll know when it's done and I'll know when my time's passed. But I'm no longer the best. And when I no longer can see myself continuing to be in the top of my game and where I'm at, then I might be done. And at that point, maybe I'm 30, maybe I'm 35. I don't know. I feel like there's so much time past that to find another avenue of what I want to do. My biggest thing is if I'm happy. If I'm not happy, it's so hard to not be content. So in the summer, I try to find the time where, my dad calls me. Do you train today? Did you work out today? Did you do all these things? And I'm like, yes, Dad, I did all those things. I'm also 25. I know what's good and what's not, but thank you. Like if I'm going to train for 6 days and I, have an ability to travel to another place for a sponsorship deal, I try to get in and out as fast as I can because I know I want to come home and train, but sacrificing that day and a half to talk to girls about hockey in a different place, like that's well worth it to me. But I also know I want to prioritize myself, prioritize sleep, prioritize my training. I'm in my time of my life that I've always dreamed of, and I don't want to waste that. When that's done, I will find another avenue that I'm interested in. So now I just feel like it's important for me to dial in with what I'm doing. And when I have put so much time into something, I want to take advantage of that. So that's where I'm at now. But I don't think it scares me at all that, hockey is how I make my money. It's what I do. One small thing can screw that up. I just feel like I take it one step at a time, and I'm just happy to be making money playing the sport that I love. Because even 5 years ago, that wasn't going to be a thing. We didn't have a professional league. We didn't do any of this. Like it was never a thing. So just knowing that I'm living my dream and trying to take it one step at a time and knowing at any point, like you could be done. I think that doesn't give me anxiety. I think I'm very free with that idea now.
I have a hard question for you that I kind of battle with. Do you think that you would be happy if you weren't good?
With knowing myself and knowing that those around me would answer this way too, I feel like I am someone that would have found something that I'm really good at and I would have pursued that. I think if I was happy doing something else and being that B role, I guess, like not the A role, but B. Now I was happy doing that. My parents would have been like, go ahead, let's do it. You want to go play hockey and you're on third line, we'll come and watch you regardless. We just want you to be happy. That's what my parents always said.
Okay.
We want you to work hard. We want you to be happy. And say, that's me dancing in the school play. Go ahead, do that. I wanted to go rescue dogs on the weekend. My parents were like, all right, great. Let's see how we can make this work for you. I am innate knowing in myself that I want to be the best and I'm really competitive. And, I feel like I would have found something, and that maybe just be me just saying that because I don't have to live that dream or that thought, but I do think I would have found something. And if that was hockey and I wanted to be mediocre, that's fine. I don't see myself at that spot.
Yeah. I asked that because when I got into the league, when I got into the NFL, you realize that when you get there, everybody's good.
Yep.
And I always knew that I was good, but I always knew that I could outwork people.
Yeah.
And the work is what always proved itself. And when I wasn't playing well, I found myself being unhappy. I'm just like, damn. Because this wasn't like a roller coaster, like a game where you have a good game, you have a bad game. This is over the course of a few years. Getting thrown into the NFL, dealing with the business, the politics, the money, the draft, the cuts, everything. And I realized that I wasn't happy. And then through that process, I started to question who I was because everything was tied into the sport that I played.
Foundation.
Yeah, exactly. And I had nobody teaching me that it's just what I did. It wasn't who I am. So the past, I would say 7, 8 years, I've been finding out who I am outside of the sport. So when I think about, man, if I would have been in the first few years of the league and I played really well, I think I would have been happy. But I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because everything was tied to essentially being validated for the thing that I was doing for other people, the fans, the coaches, the players. And that's a really scary thought because now I think about all these guys, these young guys in the league who get money and blow the money or get in relationships and make bad mistakes because all this stuff is being thrown at them so fast.
They don't know
and
how
they
to cope.
Exactly. They don't know how to cope. They don't know who they are. And now it's trying to figure out who you are when the lights are on you.
Yeah.
And I think that can be really hard to battle with if you're unhappy when the thing that you do has suddenly just rocked your world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I asked that question because you're extremely confident. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Taylor. I think I've never spoke with anybody who is as confident as you with as strong as a foundation as you. Like you have every right to be confident. Like dog, I'm telling you. You telling me like 12, 13, you knowing this, I'm just like what are we doing right now? Like who are these parents? They should come parent me right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then like just thinking about you having brothers and you competing with your brothers and they're younger than you. Like when you were explaining that to me, I'm just like, oh, they're definitely older than her. But it's like, no, they're younger than you and you're still finding ways to compete with them. And this dynamic that you guys have in this family is beautiful, man. Like I give my hats off to your folks and to you for the things that you like right now. I don't even care about what you're doing right now. It's like just who you are. Yeah. So it's cool just to know that you're not even tied into what you do. So when you think about, all right, I'm at the top of my game. I mean, you've always been at the top of your game. So this is something that you're just used to. And everybody on the outside looking in is like, you have it all. Like you have the stardom, you have the money, you've been the girl the entire time, and now you're at the top of the top. Do you feel like the top professionally is everything that you imagined it to be? Is it good? Is it bad? Or is it just whatever because you never paid attention to being at the top?
Great question. I think, everyone can look at me and you look at social media. You can look at anyone on social media and say they have it together and they love their life. Their life's amazing. I think for me, like there's those mental health struggles. When your face is plastered on the rink where you're playing and you come out with 0 points and you played bad and you let a goal goes off your foot. You go home and you're like, ooh, am I meant to be here? And I always try to like not question that. I'm meant to be here. I'm here for a reason. God put me on this earth for a reason and I'm here. But there's a lot of expectations and I have to harbor some of those and not show people what it looks like. I don't want little girls to look at me and see me stressed. I don't want them to see me after the game, like talking to my parents and being like, this sucked. This is what happened here, whatever. And I feel like my parents do such a good job of being like trying to shut it down because sometimes I have so much emotion that it just comes out. And being at that top, which, there's so many more avenues I can get better at. Like I'm here and I want to get up here. I've seen and played with the best of the best. I play against Hillary Knight, Marie Flupoulin, like all these amazing hockey players who've been playing. They're 30, 35, and they're still so good. And being able to know that I have 10 years to even catch up to where they're at now. And to know like you said earlier, you said you knew exactly who was successful and how you can copy that. I'm the same way. I'm going to watch a game and I'm going to be like, okay, she's not as fast as me, but she finds herself in better positions. How can I get there? And my dad's great with it too. He's more so my hockey guru guy. And when we were kids, he would only tell me, like, obviously my brothers, he's like, shoot your 3. He's very basketball focused. For me, it's move your feet, quick 3 strides, shoot the puck, and make good plays. And obviously now we add and be that good teammate because you can be at the top, like I said, and if you're not a good teammate, people don't want to play with you. You're not going to get the best people who are going to be around you. And for me, like I said, pride myself on having really good teammates around me and treating them really well. Because at this point in life, no one wants to be around a shitty person. I don't care if you're good. I don't care if someone wants to piggyback off you. But just being that good person, and I don't want that to be fake. I want everything that I say and how I look and how I act is very genuine. Obviously, I have to be put together a lot. I have photo shoots. I have, PWHL asks a lot of me. A lot of stuff for the Frost. USA Hockey wants me here. There's a gala here. There's this here. Understanding like my life is not perfect. I love the people that are around me and I love my life, But there's also these hard things. Like I go to the grocery store. I'm a normal person. I, make my food. I'm struggling. My body hurts. Like my back hurts. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. Just like sometimes you just have to get over the hump and just like understand like my life is not perfect. I am not perfect, nor will I ever be. But just understanding like that genuine excitement that I remember I had when I was a kid for hockey, I still have. And I want to continue to have that. I don't want little girls to see this version of me and then meet me and say like, oh, she's totally different. I do want to be very similar. And I try to shut down, whether that be appearances, things that don't align with me. I will never sign with something or sponsorship or anything that doesn't align with my values. And my agents and everyone know that. And I want just people to see me for me. Like I'm partnering with like a pork brand this summer. I love protein. I love to eat. I'm a foodie. There's not a lot of girls out there that would want to partner with a brand like that. For me, it's just, I want to be me and I want people to see me. Like my favorite food is a cheeseburger. It's not a salad. Like anyone around me that knows me knows that. And I just want to be genuine. And when people meet me, I just want them to see that genuineness in me and that I care about them, but also that I'm kind of like just doing whatever I want. Like I love being at the top, but there's so many more levels I want to get to. And I just feel like I try to take the positives out of things and seeing all these amazing athletes and saying like, I have so much time. Not to give myself that leisure and be like, oh, I can go on a month vacation here, do this, whatever. Just that I have time and I don't have to stress about it now.
So you feel like being at the top is something you don't really even think about because you are who you are, and like all the spotlights and all this other stuff doesn't even matter.
I feel the pressure. Trust me. Like my boyfriend probably knows this more than anyone. I come home and he can tell when I'm overstimulated, and I just feel the pressure of everything. And I think even my coach said it this year. He's like, I was a little nervous for you last year. I didn't have that many points my first year. Like I was the first overall draft pick and people were calling me overrated. Totally fine. Yeah, that's going to get to me a little bit, but still playing professional hockey. I'm still getting paid. I'm still doing all these things. I'm still enjoying it. So I don't want it to come across that I'm like this confident person who like everything's working in life. Like I have those struggles, but I just feel like for me, I'm always doing those things that are going to make me happy. That's me getting my nails done. I will go do that. That's me going on a walk and picking up flowers at a farmer's market. Let's do that. That's me getting on the ice on a Saturday where, I've trained for 5 days straight, but I just feel like I need to work on something extra. That's what I'll do. And I think money affords me that. And I think my time and all the practice I've put in affords me that too. So just understanding like I got to work through the same things normal people work through, just maybe on a higher level. Signing this contract. Do I work with this person? If I talk to this person, they might see me as something different. Just there's a lot of things. And that's my biggest thing is come across like I'm genuine, but also there are those struggles. There's money struggles. There's, should I buy this? Should I do this? Are these things like something that's going to help me move forward in life? It's the same thing as everyone else. It's just sometimes on a higher level.
So you mentioned God a couple of times while we've been speaking. What has your faith meant to you in your journey? And you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to.
I'd love to talk about it.
Okay. So what has your faith been for you throughout your journey?
We grew up as a family. We would sit in church. Me and my brothers would probably hit each other a few times. I sit on the ground, color, never been able to sit still, but I've been in church since I was 5. Like I was baptized. I went to communion. I did all those things. And it was, I would say not until I was like 12 or 13 where I'm like, okay, this is pretty interesting. I like this. I taught Sunday school, but I never like grasped it for me. And I think now really understanding, I think it was when I was 16, 17, I was like, okay, I'm going to really I'm going to take this serious. Cause I believe in God. I believed in him back then too. Just understanding like you're saved for a reason and God allows me to do what I do. Like I pray every night and I pray before every game. And I just say like, allow me to go out there, do what I love, glorify you in the things that I'm doing. And just like being able to be out here it's glory to God essentially. And if he wanted me to not play anymore, maybe I'd go out there and get hurt. Like everything happens for a reason. And my faith, I remember my freshman year of college, a senior brought me to church and I never looked back. Me and one of my best buddies, we went to church probably for 3 years straight. And I just kind of grasped like when I needed something, the sermon was always something that I could grasp. And people are like, oh, whatever. Like that's not how it works. That is how it works. And I think now I go through these big things. I'm gone a lot. I'm traveling a lot. I always try to listen online, but there's something different about being in church. And, we would play in college Friday, Saturday games. Sometimes people would go out. Sometimes we'd go out. Sometimes I'd always end up at church on Sunday. And it was such a reset. It was like humbling experience, really, because they don't care who you are there.
Yeah.
People don't care. They're all there for the same reason you're there, for God's saving grace, to hear a good sermon, and maybe to sing a little bit. And it's kind of just this like way to think about things for me. Like, I am not, people might look at me like I'm here, but it's the same way that I look at God. Like it's like the same thought process. Like, God put me on this earth for a specific reason. And if he wanted me to play basketball, I'd be playing basketball now. But this is my calling and this is what I'm supposed to be doing. But I think the biggest difference for me is when I got into my faith. When I was in high school, it was kind of forced for me. And I didn't, like, my idols were hockey. And now it's completely flipped, where like hockey is never going to be something that controls me, because it's not something that's going to be able to give me what I want. I'm always going to want more. I'm always going to want this. It's never going to be good enough. People are going to look at a medal that I got, a silver, and say, you're second place. You're never good enough. God will never look at you that way. So I think for me, like, that's a lot. And that's kind of a lot for people to probably understand. But that's kind of just how I look at things.
Yeah, I think, man, that's beautiful. Because I think at the end of the day, it's not for anybody to understand.
For sure.
And thank you for sharing that. Because I think for me, like, throughout my journey, like my whole life online, and even as a captain all my life, I've always shared my faith, and how God has always kind of been the center of everything that I do. Because at the end of the day, we're all struggling. And I think we all need something to grasp onto.
Yeah.
So you sharing that just, I think, always brings it home for you at the end of the day. Because I think there is no confidence without some anchor, right? And I believe that God is our anchor, and we're able to 100%. Do everything that he's blessed us with. And I think that's another way to not get caught up in what you're doing or what you love. Right. It's like, well, God's allowing me to do this, and I'm going to do it with everything that I have, because I don't want to waste it. 100%. Yeah. Like that's what injuries teaches an athlete really quick. Have you been hurt much at all?
Yeah. So I've been blessed. My family, my brothers have gone through a little bit more than me, but when I was young, broke a finger here and there playing basketball. I've always been really flexible. I knew that I had a few things when I was young, that my hips weren't very good. In hockey, you need your hips. So, I get into college, didn't break anything in high school, get into college, start having really bad hip pain and back pain. And I have had some degenerative things. I have some tendonitis in my elbows, my wrists, and stuff. I ended up getting to my senior year of college, having some bad sprains and bad hurt. Like, I was pretty much just making it through at the end of the day. And then my senior year, I couldn't even sit down to go to the bathroom or just sit down in general. I had such bad hip pain. So I ended up getting bilateral sports hernia surgery my senior year, right after I got cut from the Olympics, because I said, they didn't want me. I'm going to get this done so I can come back better. Turns out, and they end up losing in the Olympics. That doesn't make a big difference, but we ended up having a world championships in August. I didn't expect to be there. I was supposed to have a 6-month recovery time. Like, I wasn't supposed to be active until then. I get it done in April. I get a call in end of May, and I'm like, I'm not even close to being ready. They're like, we want you at the world championships. And I'm like, interesting. I got to talk to my doctor now. So I get that done. I ended up playing in that tournament. Didn't feel the best. Ended up having like the best tournament of my life. And it was the MVP of that. The first time I've ever been on the international stage, playing with the best players ever. Like, that was one of the best tournaments I've ever had. Flashback to, I would say this year was my second worst thing that I've had. Beginning of the season, I'm starting to ramp things up. I think November was when we're going to start playing. So end of October, playing in a fun league outside. I think it was in St. Louis Park. Outside rink, we're just having fun. And I get hit to the ground. I'm on a breakaway. I get hit to the ground, not feeling much. And I get pushed down with someone's stick, and it takes the back of my knee out. And I didn't want to cause any issues. I knew something was wrong, but I'm like, I especially don't want the person who did it to feel bad. No one's out there trying to hurt me. I get off the ice. I can't really move. I'm like really nervous. It's my ACL. My boyfriend's been through it twice. My brother's been through it. My parents both went through it. I know what it feels. I don't know what it feels like, but I can see
the journey, right?
And my trainer thank God was there. And I go to her and I'm like, I'm really scared. And I ended up tearing my PCL in October, missing a big chunk of USA. I ended up getting back for the first game of the season, but I had to wear this brace from here to here. Under your knee pads and your
tough.
Not great. I could only move my leg back a little bit. I think that was my biggest struggle because my coach wanted me to not play. But I said, for this team, and I want us to win. We ended up winning all 4 games, I think. Maybe we lost 1. But I knew if I wasn't in that lineup, and that's not overconfident of me. I feel like that's just me saying, I don't care if I'm first or fourth line. I just think I need to be out there.
Yeah.
I will make plays.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I played on fourth line with one of the nicest girls. Her name's Brooke. She's usually our 13th, 14th forward, and she played on the line with me. And we ended up getting like 4 points in one game. And she was having the best time of her life. And I was kind of thinking like, I've never been on fourth line in my entire life. I don't know what it feels like. But I was there and I had to kind of think back to like, she is having so much fun. And I want to be having the same amount of fun as her. I was in a little bit more pain. But I honestly, because I played those 4 games, I think it gave me the confidence to say like, everyone on this team matters for such a huge reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had to see that. I had to be on that, like in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was the biggest injury I had. That was supposed to be like a 6-week thing. And I think I came back in 6.5. Wearing that brace for 2 more weeks was the worst thing I've so bad. But I ended up not feeling back to normal for like 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably the worst thing that I've had. I've had, sprains, breaks, little fractures here and there, but
Mm-hmm.
those are the 2 things. And that's like nothing comparative to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I've had broken bones. I've had those things. You just let them heal.
Yeah,
I broke my thumb in playoffs. That's like a little thing. I couldn't really grip my stick. Like, not want to make a big deal of it, but you just kind of have to push through.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's easy to push through things when you're built how you're built and you have the faith that you have and the parents that you have. And I'm just, like, I mean, my hat's off to you. Like, I'm sitting here like, damn, I ain't never met somebody so confident. I've met confident people, but I don't know where it comes from. And I can tell you have like a foundation of a foundation. So I just like tip my hat off to you. I have a couple like fun questions for you.
Yeah.
What's one stereotype about women's hockey that you're tired of hearing?
One stereotype about women's hockey that I'm tired of hearing would be that it's just not the same sport. And I can't grasp that in the sense of, men and women are built very differently. And I think when you look at it, women's hockey and men's hockey, it's different, but it's not a different sport. We're playing the same sport. We both play with hockey sticks. We put skates on our feet. There's a goalie in net. There's 6 people on the ice for one team at a time. I just think with our league specifically now, there's so much physicality. If you truly sit down, all the haters out there that don't want to watch, that don't care, just sitting down and watching one game. I'm not saying we're better. I would never say that. Like that, I fully understand where I'm at, and I know where we're at as a group, and just understanding like physicality is there. I get hit every night. I have bruises upon hits upon hit. Like, you look up some of the biggest hits from our league this year, they would rival the NHL. Like, there's some bad ones. But just the understanding of it's not physical. Like, women's hockey isn't physical. That's probably more so what I would say. There's so much physicality in all the levels. And now that we're allowed to hit, I think people just need to let go of that stereotype and just say, like, I don't care if you come and watch, to be honest with you. If you don't want to watch, it's okay. You don't have to be there. But just understand it is a very physical sport and it's very demanding. We put in the exact same amount of time. I wouldn't say the exact same amount of time as the men because everyone's going to do their separate ways.
Mm-hmm.
I might put in more than some. I might put in less than some. But it's so physical and it takes so much of your mental toll. It's just not a different sport. And I don't know. I will never understand when people say that, but I'm not someone I'll just laugh and smile. Like, if you want to think that way, go ahead.
Where do you think that comes from?
I think, women's sports are on the rise and they have been for a while. And I think sometimes some people can't quite handle it and they don't understand it. They're going to compare it to the men's side every single day. Totally fine. I don't like that doesn't bother me. It's just when you don't respect something, that's one thing. When you don't respect something for the fact of you haven't watched it, you haven't seen it, you don't understand it, that's another thing. And that's where I don't stand for. Anyone wants to come up to me and talk to me about, I don't get women's hockey and I haven't watched it, but here's a question. Can I ask you? I'd 100% say that. Someone's going to come out and tell me you're not, whatever, you and Kirill Kaprizov are on 2 separate levels. Totally fine. We probably are. But have you watched us? Have you watched me? Have you watched whatever? And if they've said no, then I'm, go ahead and watch it then. Like, for me, like you said, I have this confidence in myself, but I also like just don't deal with the bullshit. If you want to try to bullshit me, I'm not the person to do it because I have seen so many people in my life leave and like not support me. So because I'm a woman. And if you don't want to, go ahead. Doesn't bother me. You're just missing out because there's so many fun things and there's so much stuff that I get to do because I'm a woman and I play hockey. Like there's so many fun things. And our sport is masculine. People will say that. We put on pads, you're wearing a helmet, you're hitting people. That's fine, but we make it our own. And there's a specific reason why there's a niche market for women's hockey and why when we play games, there's so many people that show up.
I mean, drop the goddamn mic for real. Cause now like I told you I have daughters and like my daughters are very active. They want to play sports. I'm like, my daughters are like that. You know what I mean? Because one, I'm training them and two, they just have it in them.
Yeah.
So I'm like, like I am learning a lot about sports in general just because I just played football all my life. And I was like, the first time I ever watched soccer was like coming out to Minnesota. You know what I'm saying? I've never been to a hockey game.
Yeah.
So I need to like make my way out. Matter of fact, I'm going to a Frost game before I go to a men's game. I'm like making a stand. I actually have another funny question for you. So like, what would you say? Because I mean, I lived in Minnesota going on what, 13, 14 years now?
Yeah.
And the thing about Minnesota sports, it just feels like these teams just like can't get over the hump. So what would you say? Like, what do you think these other teams need to do to get over the hump and like win a championship?
And I'm such a big fan. I think having my family be like such a sports family. I've watched the Vikings and the Timberwolves since I was so young. And it really does help. Like things have been getting better. I think we had these years where
isn't that like the theme
you'd
though?
You'd have 5 years where it would be really bad. Like the Vikings would win one game. And then now it's been getting to the point where I think Minnesota sports, like people are now starting to really take it seriously, but that's when it hurts the most. The Timberwolves losing this year. Like that sucks. The Vikings not making where they need to be. That sucks. But everyone, I saw a tweet and they're like, Minnesota has never won a championship since so-and-so. And then you look underneath it and it's like the Lynx won this year, and the Frosted won back-to-back years. And then people underneath that say, no real sports. Like that's hilarious to me. I put in the same amount of work plus more than you. And I work my butt off. I'm making a salary playing more than a lot of people. I'm making more than almost all the 9-to-5s out there. Like just being able to do what I do and understanding that some people are going to hate and that's fine. But just seeing like there's so much opportunity out there. And I think for hockey specifically, it's been up. And I think all the sports in Minnesota, you know, we have the running joke, like Minnesota sports are just a letdown in general. But Minnesota sports fans are so like, they think it's predictable, but Minnesota sports fans are so passionate.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But they're also haters, like to the top 10. You look at the top 10 comments below, like a Twins or a Timberwolves or whatever. It's going to be the Minnesota people. And what I value about our fans, we have the haters out there, that is for sure. But there's so much love. And whenever I'm done playing, like I just know that there's never going to be any hate about it. And that's what I want. I don't want people to hate. I don't want people to do that. I want people to understand like how much time I put in and they want them to love me for me. There's so many people off the ice that I have this black cat energy. People say I kind of have a RBF. Like I'm kind of scary to some people off the ice. But when you meet me, like I'm super bubbly and I love, like,
I think that's an oldest thing. I have the exact same thing. People say about me all the time.
Yeah. And like, there's even my trainer, my best friend knows, she's like, yeah, one of our trainers came up to me and since you weren't there, we're like, yeah, I was really scared of Taylor when I first met her. And I'm like, please tell me that he said that I'm really nice now. And she goes, oh yeah, he loves you now. But like, you have this demeanor that's like, if you want to try to get my way, try. I won't let you. I will pass right by you and I won't care. And then like my best friend Grace, we're black cat golden retriever. She's like, everyone wants to take her home in a baby Bjorn. Like she's just like everyone's bestie. But that takes a lot of your mental energy. And I know what I can expend and what I can't. And Minnesota sports is hard because it's like that expending of energy. But our fans are so funny because, you know, I would say our market of fans is so different. And I don't really know how to explain it necessarily, but I feel so loved by them. And it's such a different vibe than what I'm used to being a sports fan in Minnesota.
If you had to choose between the Vikings, the Twins, or the Timberwolves to win the championship first, who do you think will get it done first?
I want to say the Timberwolves.
Have the Wild won a championship?
I think it's.
Or we're not counting them then. So if it was
because hockey, like leave hockey in the past. I'm going the Timberwolves. I am a basketball fan at heart. My boyfriend loves the Timberwolves too. Just with Ant Edwards and like their team, Nas Reed, Rudy Gobert, like all the guys, like I just feel like we have it. We're just so close. And I know Finch, like I know they can do it. I want to see it.
Mm-hmm.
I love going to their games. I think they're awesome. And having music in the background, that's something our league has toyed around with a little bit.
I didn't even know that was a thing until I went to a game. I thought I was like, why didn't cut the music off? And I was like, oh, that's dope. It's like you're watching Park League or something.
It's just like a fun atmosphere. And I do really love seeing their games. So I would vote Timberwolves.
How did you feel when the Vikings lost to the Eagles that year?
Yeah, it was not great. And I'm a piggyback sports fan when it comes to the Vikings. I like football, but I love more so like I'll cook and bake on a Sunday and we can sit down and watch.
Oh, okay.
Like I'm a football fan and I'm more so just a Vikings fan, but I love the atmosphere of Sundays in the fall. I'm a Timberwolves fan for sure. I think Vikings, it's a little bit different. I just love being out and about and doing fun things. It always ends up being a Sunday. My boyfriend loves watching football. So I guess just like, it's such a different vibe. I don't know. And my boyfriend would probably yell at me for saying it, but I'm definitely like I hopped on the back when he wanted to watch the Vikings. I'm like, yeah, sure. Like I'll watch too. Bringing over chips and dip and desserts. But yeah, my best friend in college too, Abby Burry, she loved watching the Vikings. Would have her Vikings jersey on from the moment I saw her on a Sunday too. When they would lose, she would throw it in the garbage and then have to go get it and try again next week.
It sounds like a Minnesota fan.
Yeah. So I'm definitely a piggyback Vikings fan, but they're great. But yeah, that's not ideal.
I was almost going to be like, I played in the league, so I never like had a team even growing up because I lived in LA. So like growing up, we didn't have a team in LA. All of them left. Yeah. And I was going to become a Vikings fan this year, but I was like, they're too good. And this is not the year for me to jump on because they're good.
People are going to be pissed.
Yeah. So I was like, screw it. I'm not going to hop on. Well, thank you, Taylor, for joining me. Like, I know you have a lot going on.
No, you're good.
I genuinely loved talking to you.
Thank you.
I hope this doesn't come out the wrong way, but when I look at you, I'm like, I hope my daughters can be like you. Like the confidence that you have, the drive and the will and the commitment that you have, it's rare. And it's rare because you have to work for it. And I think you have to have a really good foundation. And I hope that what your parents did for you, I hope that I can do for my daughters. Just sitting across from them, it's like, damn, like, you're just like an awesome human.
Thank you.
Know what I mean? So thank you so much for sitting with me.
This is amazing. Anytime I can sit and talk my story out and get different avenues and viewpoints, I'm always down for it. And I was really excited for this. So I'm glad this worked out in a way that we could get it done and talk about really important topics as well.
Everything works out the way it's supposed to.